Welcome to another episode of What Teachers Have to Say. I'm Jake.
And I'm Nathan. And today we are going to be talking to two incredible educators, Marisa Thompson and Jon Corippo.
Great episode.
World-class educators that we had a wonderful conversation with. And the trend between them, really, we started out, we wanted to have an episode that kind of wrapped up the year, roses and thorns, but it grew into something so much bigger than that once we started talking. And it it went off the rails a couple times. But the common thread here is that here at the end of the year, we are often reflecting on what could we do better next year, right? I feel like that's a universal teacher experience where you look back at your notes, you look back at your lessons, you remember things that went well, you remember things that didn't go quite so well, and you need to change them in some way.
You light those on fire.
Right. You light
Burn
them
your
on
notes.
Fire. But it's so much bigger than that in some ways. Like we tend to just focus on our classrooms, but we forget that all of our classrooms are really interconnected with the students that are coming into our class next year, from the students that we've sent on their way into new learning experiences for next year. And so talking with Marisa and Jon really kind of opened up this window with two educators that are doing work across the nation in multiple classrooms and tying those threads together of things that we should probably rethink in education writ large. So, yeah, this is a very instructive episode. I'm very excited to share these conversations with you.
I'm really excited about this one. So I'm really excited. Again, how many times can I say that in one episode? I don't know.
It was a good conversation.
But I didn't cry. So that's good.
No crying this time.
This is a good episode. I am really excited to introduce to you Marisa E. Thompson. So fun story. I think like many educators that are active on social media, Twitter used to be much better than it is. So I was originally introduced to Marisa and her work with Unlimited Teacher on Twitter. And so to me, it was a very specific avatar. That's who, right? The picture, that's who Marisa Thompson was.
Right.
And we had corresponded multiple times, been at conferences together and things like that, but never met in person. So then, this January, we're in Palm Springs at the conference. We filmed an episode there. And they have this wonderful thing there that started during pandemic learning called Midnight Pedagogy.
Right.
Yeah. And so Ed Campos and a bunch of other people that I'm forgetting to say their names right now, they came together and they were like, you know what? They're like, this is crap. We need to support each other. Nobody knows how to do this. And so the people who have a little bit of a know-how, let's get together. And so like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, these educators would get together on Zoom, hang out, kind of commiserate, and be like, how the hell do I do this? And from that was Midnight Pedagogy. It was born. And so now that we're all back in person, whenever there's a big conference, they do Midnight Pedagogy. So this year in Palm Springs, it was super cool. The most giant pizzas I've ever witnessed. Okay, like for the people that are watching, they were bigger than these tables.
What?
Yeah. And so Ed Campos, I think it was Ed that brought them in. He came in with all these giant pizzas. They took up way more than the tables. We're all hanging out at like 11 o'clock by the pool, and just chatting and just being together as educators and enjoying it. And so I sat down and I was chatting. Had this really interesting conversation about somebody was going off on a writing retreat, which I do myself, and we were sharing stuff. And my friend Kim Vogie, who we need to have on,
Love Kim.
She's like, oh, isn't it fun to talk to Marisa? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, is that, what's her name? She's like, that's Marisa Thompson. I'm like, I don't know who that is, because I'm kind of dumb. I'm kind of bad with names. And she goes, she's like, Marisa Thompson, like you guys are always talking together online. And so I had like on the slide did like the embarrassing thing at the party where I like turned around and like got on Twitter real quick and I'm like, oh, and I did. I fessed up to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we've been talking for like a half an hour and I did not put your physical person together with your internet person.
That's amazing.
So she's incredible.
Yeah.
She has such a wealth of knowledge. And so Marisa Thompson, and I say Marisa E. Thompson because if you use that to find her, you'll find her.
Right.
So Marisa has almost 20 years of education experience. She's been a classroom teacher. She's been an instructional and an ed coach. She's worked at a district level. And as she's going to mention in the podcast, this is her first year not in a classroom, which is really hard.
That is a big move.
It's
for an
really
educator.
big. You know, taking that step out of a classroom when for almost 20 years you've been day to day with students. But Marisa has, I mean, to say what she's known for is so long. She's incredible. Like, she's so incredible. But Marisa really talks a lot about DIY flexible seating in the classroom. She talks about student-led learning. And she's the 2019 Q ISTE affiliate for San Diego, the winner of the Innovative Educator of the Year.
Wow,
Yeah, she's an award-winning educator
That is
on our
legit.
little podcast, right? She's also really known for something called the TQE method, which is really neat. Like, it's a really neat way of using questioning to break down documents and things like that. And then a fun fact that I just found: she's visited over 20 countries and is a fan of C's candy. So
We'll have to send her some.
excellent. All right, so let's. You should also know that because we have known each other, we kind of just dove right into the conversation.
Didn't really
and so we're
introduce
just going to
too much.
start right out. So I give to you Marisa E. Thompson. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to come in to the show too. You're our first guest for this episode. It's kind of fun. We're piecemealing. We have 4 people coming in. And so we just wanted to, I mean, you know, we're lucky to know people that work with a lot of educators, kind of a wide scope. And so we were able to kind of pull on that network and have you come in. And so I would love to start us off. I'm curious, Marisa, during this past year, looking back on 2022, 23, what is like a rewarding moment that kind of bubbles up to you?
Wow. It's funny. Usually you want to get some of these questions ahead of time, but I like the authentic
Sorry.
reaction of like, that's a great question. Just figure it out. Honestly, so this is my first year out of the classroom, and it was a heart-wrenching decision. Like, it's so much a part of my identity. I was in the classroom for almost half my life, right? And so I wanted to make sure that I was still able to fulfill my purpose, which is to help teachers help their students and themselves, right? I want that to be better for everyone. And so I get to work with my mentor, Laura Spencer, who you know through Q, and she's letting me play. So I would say the most meaningful, I can't do it, but one of, right?
One of, yes, one of.
So
One of, not the most.
I will say is I was working with a teacher, and we talked for hours over a few weeks, and then we restructured all of her classes. And she's like, I have never been this purposeful in my thinking, my design, my planning. And the kids are just absolutely blowing all of their previous all of
Metrics.
just out of the water. Like, I mean, it is incredible. And the workload has decreased significantly. It's like, oh, interesting. As we decrease that workload for students, they're able to focus, they're able to try, they're able to show that they can do it, right?
Yes.
And so I get to watch that. I get to really witness and be part of that shift for an entire school of teachers and students. So I've got a few on board. I've got a few more to go. But yeah, it's really working. It's really working. I'm convincing some people that, you know, I hear sometimes like, oh, it looks a little light. And it's like, just hang on. Just hang on.
That's okay.
Hang on 1 second. Wait till you see it. You know, so that's been fun. But to have a teacher recognize and go, wow, I've never been this thoughtful and this deliberate, this intentional in my planning. And then to watch their work, both the students and the teachers' workload drop, and watch the celebrations come in. It's so much fun.
It's so rewarding. You know, Jon Corippo was on a podcast a couple of years ago, and he mentioned that teacher burnout isn't only about lack of pay and all of these things. He's like, I feel like the root is a lack of feeling successful, right? And you're giving that you're handing that over to these teachers that like, no, you're not broken. Yeah, I can teach you some cool tricks. Let's just get you feeling successful.
Yeah, and the kids too, right? The kids are constantly playing that catch up and constantly like, oh, I have a 0. Oh, I got a C on a quiz. Like they can feel successful. You can feel successful as a teacher. And then to have that collaboration of like, let's see what we can do together. It's so much fun. And that energy, that fun is to me, the antidote to teacher burnout. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Although we should get paid more. Can we just?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we still the fun is that antidote.
Yes.
I could not agree more. Yeah. There is this strange gap in pay that we definitely have to work through.
Mm-hmm. And we will.
You know. Oh, absolutely.
But in the meantime, we've got kids in front of us, and they've got we owe it. They deserve it. We have the ability and the knowledge and the expertise and the experience, and so we do what we need to do and what we can do with these kids. But it's oddly fascinating that one of those tricks is to bring down the workload for everybody.
To do less, and it's strange, isn't it? Like I'm a high school English teacher, and I always ask for feedback from the kids at the end of a semester. And I'll never forget when I was like, oh, what did you advance in the most this year? And about 80% of them all said essay writing. Wow. I'm like, that's interesting. How many essays did I assign? And they're like, well, there was, only one.
One, yeah.
One per semester. And they all report, the skills.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was the same for me, especially during that year that I was virtual, the year I was online for COVID. It was my best growth in writing skills. I just, it's fascinating.
Funny?
I don't think a lot of people would report that.
Isn't it wild? And so, but I'm sitting there going, wait,
wild.
Hang on, time out. What was it? And I think a lot of it was that the quantity of work was decreased so significantly that they could actually have time and space to think and feel like they wanted to write, which is what we were talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that so much. I've had a very similar experience. I'm actually teaching a experimental dual enrolled high school and college class. So they get college credit and high school credit for that. And we did it in this weird format where we did a college class, but the whole year. So it was just super weird, and no one had ever really done anything like that. Even at the college, they were like, I don't know, we can't really advise you. You make it up. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Good.
Perfect. That's the ideal situation for me.
Right.
So it was like, took so long to really like sit with material that was really far beyond their ability to understand, like essays that I read in grad school that I was like, I want to read this with you and see what we can get out of it, because it's really cool ideas in here. And like having that just extra time, not having them on, a spinning wheel of busy work or worksheets. It was just like, let's go deep on this one thing because I really want you to grow in this specific skill. And once all those things were connected and we could really just slow down, like their writing just dramatically improved because they were able to level up. They had time to go deep and then scale up and see where they could scale up.
Right.
Instead of just like, what's the answer? I need to get this over with.
Right. I need to not have a 0. I need to, I have an 88.4. How much more do I need to do? And you're just like, come on, back.
I know.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting points of feedback I got was some of the students that took it, were very, very they're very good at school and they're very good at high school. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, I thought I'd be writing more, or I thought there would be like, this would be more rigorous. And I was like, it's very rigorous. You've just read like Plato and Aristotle and stuff that people don't ever read unless you're in a grad program or that's your area of study.
102 or something.
Yeah, but it was like they had trouble correlating rigor with advancing skills. It was more like, oh, I'm not doing things all the time, so this must be easy.
Right. And what a wonderful, what an odd feeling, right? Because it's definitely a criticism I hear, and something I have to combat a lot. But
Totally.
it's too light. We need to make it harder on them. I'm just in there going like,
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
understand. I don't understand this need of like,
I don't get it
how
either.
difficult we can make it for them, and that will mean that we're doing a good job. And it's just like, I don't. Is anyone listening to anything that we're talking about? Why would we make it harder? It's already hard. Writing is hard. Thinking and having these big thoughts and conversations about things that really matter, and then communicating a new thought, it's spoken and then in writing and having it come through clearly. That's freaking hard. Do we need to make it? Why does it need to be a punishment? This should be something that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and totally. I heard joking, and I won't say where this came from. It was an AP teacher, and he was like, "Yeah, there's only been like 3 or 4 panic attacks. I must not be doing something right." I'm like, don't even make that joke. Like,
so painful.
Yeah, I don't fully know what to do with that, but I
you do this.
It's the absurd, right?
That's a different way of looking at it.
That's interesting. I do think it's. I think we laugh at the absurdity of it, but the fact that it is true for a lot of people, or for the philosophy of you have to have this many assignments, you have to have this many grades, it has to be worth this amount, you have to, and I think there are those, I'm using air quotes, the solutions of having so many grades is really about communicating and being clear with the student and with the family about where they are. And I think there are other ways to solve that. I know there are other ways to solve that we've seen work and replicated in so many schools and so many classrooms. So I'm excited about, as heavy as all of this became in our conversation, I'm actually really excited that there's so many solutions available and that are easily implementable. They're actionable. You can do it tomorrow. And even within the system, we can fix it within the system, so that where you run into that friction, then go like, no, I'm within the system. I got it. Until we can actually get all of that data, those examples and those observations, those stories from students and from families who are like, I used to be completely stressed out. I'm no longer stressed out. I see that I'm successful. I have the confidence to share my thoughts or ask a question or write a paper. I think I just have a real optimism about it. I have a lot of hope for it. And I think these are the conversations that we have that start to spark the thing in the next person and the next person. And we start to see those ripples.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think, it's acknowledging some thorns, but in the end, it's a rose because there is hope to it. Right. And it is something that you can like reframe within the system. And I love the way that Jon Corippo approaches that too. We mentioned, we love Jon around here.
Yeah, Jon. Yeah.
But that's like one of his things where he's just like, look at the data,
right?
And like, look at the test scores.
Right.
1 year, look at the 30% difference or whatever. Like, once we get more and more and more of that data, can start to really, I think, lay the groundwork for actually changing the educational system, because it was never going to change overnight, ever. No. Like, it's always been resistance, and things have stayed the same for such a long time. But I agree with you. I think it's a very exciting time to be in education.
And I love Jon's data. I love it. I love seeing, but I love more, because I use the data too, because I need it to back it up, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
But I love what Jake said, and I did the same thing, Jake. Our final exam was analyzing the efficacy of our course and my teaching.
Awesome.
This is so cool.
It
was 2 full days. It was 4 hours. And I gave them, here's the list, like a spreadsheet of everything that we did. What do I keep? What do I toss? What is meaningful, but you need to fix this aspect or that. So they did that. And with lots of talking, lots of analysis, all the, skills that we want. And then we had this big, I guess, Socratic discussion, but I wouldn't call it a Socratic seminar. We all just sat around and talked about it. One of my favorite questions is, what did you get from our class that has nothing to do with English? And
Oh, I love that.
right. It's not about English. Yes, I need you to embed quotes but I don't care. I care about you and so the student, kids are talking and finally somebody, because that's a weird question, right? That's a personal question that becomes introspective and vulnerable very quickly. And this a freshman, I can see her. She raises her hand and she goes, "I learned that I can."
Oh.
And all these little nods, and I let my assistant principal came for it because he was like, "I want to hear this discussion." I'm like, you should come check it out. And we look at each other, and I was like, "It's Christmas Day, that's we can go now."
Yeah, we're done.
Mic drop. We're done.
Bye, everybody. I'm out.
Good job.
But what a wonderful thing for a student to feel, as opposed to feeling bogged down or not enough yet, or my report card's coming out. So I love the data, but I love the stories from the students and from the families. It's the observational data for me that can't be conveyed in numbers that I really think completes that argument, right? The people are going to be asking for those numbers, but it's the personal stories for me that really make a difference.
Do you ever feel like when a student says that, you're like, hang on, I want to get my phone. Can I record you?
Oh my gosh. I say it in every single session that I do. I say that. They come up with the most beautiful stuff. I learned that I can. I say it every time.
That's so good.
Another student said, "I get what you're doing now." She was my biggest critic. She tried so hard to get out of my class. She did. She fully did. But she came back after she went to another classroom. They had a big project they needed to do, pages and pages of instructions. And she went to the teacher afterwards and said, "I have an idea that I want to try." And he said, "No, your instructions are right here. I need you to do what I told you to do." And she made a beeline to my class, and I was like, "Hey, wrong class period, wrong day, I'll see you when," and she goes, "No, I just got out." And you can see she's flabbergasted. She's got her papers, and I'm like, "Are you all right?" And she's like, "I get what you're doing now." Okay, what's going on? She goes, "Instructions are limitations." And I said, "Buddy, I'm going to say it every time I get the chance to say it." And so that's what we were doing. We started calling it instructionless teaching.
That is so sick.
Isn't that rad?
Writing that down.
Instructions and limitations. I freaking love it. That, and I learned that I can, and I was like, dude, I'm on to something here. And then to be able to share it and see that other teachers are able to use it, and that it's being used. I've got the fact that it's around the world really is mind-boggling to me, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It's just the fascination of social media and what it could do, is amazing. And but it's being used from kindergarten through grad school in all sorts of subjects, and it's holy, I want to curse, but holy moly, right?
Yeah.
There are some little things that we can shift immediately and start to see those glimpses of what's really possible. So it's so much fun.
And I feel like we're ready to see that shift happen. I think the bulk of teachers that are feeling healthy are seeing the other people aren't going to change this. So I'm going to do what I can in my classroom, regardless of what they say. There's this kind of grassrootsy thing. And what you're doing is so, it's so enlivening. It's so humanizing to these students. And then the teachers around the world, they see it. And of course they're going to glom onto it. Right? You're throwing a lifeline to people that is accessible, it works, it's done in kindness.
Right. It's free.
It's
not a program, it's not a tool, and I love that. I was thinking about it. I know I told you I'm in Texas, so I'm on the plane and I'm thinking about all of these things because I'm obsessed with education, and I go, it just does feel like right now that teachers feel like they only have two options, right? They've got two doors. They've got door number one, which is to deal with it This is what
Yeah.
door number 2 is you quit and you become, I was going to become a corporate trainer because I hated teaching for the first 7 years.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I was going to quit. I had applications out. I was going.
I'm amazed that you were in it for 7 years then, if that was.
I
your
love the
suffering
kids.
like that.
I love the literature. I
know.
loved
I know.
it. But I mean, it's the
That's
same
what it
thing
is.
everybody says, right? Like, I love this. I don't love it. So your 2 choices are
Mhm.
deal with it. Door number 1, deal with it. Door number 2, quit. And then, but I don't believe that's true. I think really door number 3 is this. I think it's us going like, no, hang on. Let's get people together. Let's talk about this. Because I'm telling you, there's a way to do each of your major goals that you have for yourself and your kids. And so I think it's door number 3. And
Yeah.
it's totally there. And there's so many options, behind that door.
I think it's door number 3.
Door number
Definitely door number 3. Take door
It's
number
definitely the
3.
vacation and not like the whammy.
Right. No whammy, no whammy. Right. Exactly.
No whammy, no whammy.
That's so true.
So for people that are listening and are into it and hear what you have to say, how do they find out more?
I have a blog. I have my unlimitedteacher.com blog. And then I do speaking gigs, and I'll go and do trainings and stuff, or we can do webinars, whatever. These courses that I'm recording, you can do one of the courses and learn about it there and get all the downloads and all those things. But
Are those going to be? Are those going to be posted on your website or?
Yeah, you can sign up through you can sign up through the website. I'm on social media. I tend to be more active right now on Instagram, which is funny to me because it was always Twitter before.
Right.
But I'm on Instagram, but you got to throw the E in there. So Marisa E. Thompson. Marisa Thompson is just too, it's generic. You're going to get a lot of people. But it was Marisa Meinhardt was my maiden name. It was a lot easier, or just, if you do TQE, you'll find something for sure.
Yeah.
Or unlimitedteacher.com. Yeah. So no limits, guys. No limits.
No limits. Okay. So one final question for you. So you mentioned that there were things that you did like before the event and then like during, pandemic learning. And I think a lot of us are starting to feel the light at the end of the tunnel is starting to show up. We're starting to feel more towards normal. I hate that word. So my question for you is, what is a habit that served us but no longer serves us in education?
Yeah, let it go.
And like we
What do
can
we
start
need to let
letting
go?
go of that. Just that.
You guys,
Just
these,
that.
man.
Easy question.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Softball.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Something that was serving us that's no longer serving us.
Yeah.
I think we tend to. I think it makes us feel better when we have something or someone to blame. I think we tend to complain, and usually there's blame involved in it. And I really think it's exhausting and it's not helpful. So I like complaining. I think actually complaints are really, really healthy. I think it tells us what it is that we're trying to fix. I think it helps us identify the next thing that we need to rethink, revamp. But I think the blame thing, we've got it. We got to let it go, and because it's not serving us. Like you said, like what's not serving us anymore. I think it made us feel better.
Yeah.
But I think now, knowing how the event, right? Knowing how we can adapt and how powerful we really are, and the fact how smart we are, and our willingness to share with each other. I think that's going to just totally negate any blame game. I think it helped in the moment, but I think once we realized how much we can really do together, I think that's what's going to serve us most. Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect words.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You passed.
Yeah.
How many points did I get? Did I break that 88? Did I get up there or what?
I
You
think-
definitely are
up there.
graduating the dual enrollment course.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You get college credit.
Thank you. I'll take it.
What a great conversation.
Fantastic.
Marisa is just such a light. And I love what she had to say about the blame game, especially there at the end where, as educators, I think we have like one of the most intense struggles with imposter syndrome of any career, because your career is constantly changing. The population you're serving is constantly changing, and students are different today than they were even a few years ago. Like we mentioned the event, right?
Yeah.
Like post-event,
The time which shall not be named.
everything is different now, and we want to find answers. I think we want to find what went wrong. We want to there needs to be something to blame. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was you. Oh, it was this. But that doesn't
Technology.
it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us to try to find those mistakes and like hang that on someone. It would serve us to acknowledge our own mistakes and not live in such a culture of fear around that, to where you can acknowledge what went wrong and share it with your colleagues and think of better solutions together. So as we move, forward into this next conversation, keep that in mind. Because Jon's a very impassioned person, and he does like to.
I love Jon.
He does like to call people out, and rightly so. But in a way that I think it comes from a place of love. Jon wants things to be better, and we could be better together if we weren't so resistant to that.
Oh yeah. Well, and I love, we talk about finding a community of practice, and we forget that the word practice has that built in.
Yeah.
That it's not a community of, a community of like excellence, or a community of, perfection, or a community of even like execution, that we're doing it right. It's a community of practice. And it's so important. And in my experience, it can be really disarming to people when you own that mistake in front of them.
Yeah. Just like,
I
didn't work.
I let some balls drop so bad one time. It was my first year in the classroom, and we do this thing called Shady Creek, which is like an outdoor education school. So I was going to take almost 30 sixth graders to this outdoor ed school for a week, and it was, the communication was actually pretty bad coming from them, and the whole thing. I was just like, I'm gonna go head in the sand. I got too much to do. It's the spring. The school year's almost over. I'm dying here.
Yeah.
And so I let those balls drop. I didn't have permission slips. I didn't have chaperones and drivers. It was like a 2-hour drive away. It was terrible. Oh. It was terrible. And I look back and I'm like, well, yeah, like I was drowning, right?
Right.
And I'll never forget, the vice principal came down to my classroom. And I was sitting at my desk, and she's really tall, which is kind of funny because she sat down like next to my desk, like, can we talk? That, like, I'm like, oh.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not somebody who minces words very well. I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
And she was like, so I got a phone call from Shady Creek that they're really frustrated that they don't have the paperwork that, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I've been so bad at this. I'm drowning. I have not gotten the permission slips. We sent in all of these things.
Right.
And she kind of
Just
looked for a
owned it.
second like, oh.
Right.
Oh. And like didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
I think she thought that I was going to be like, well, I don't know. It's not my fault. Like the blame game.
Right.
And so I love, like you said, Marisa goes to that, and like it doesn't serve us. And even looking back, I was able to be like, nope, I'm drowning. I need help.
Yeah.
And she offered it. And we had a wonderful time.
Wonderful.
And so, yeah, Marisa's great at,
Yeah.
moving on, letting go of those things that aren't serving us, which is hard. It's a reflexive practice. It requires us to say, I'm not good at something.
Yeah, that's a vulnerable
Or
place.
I screwed that up.
That's a very
in front
vulnerable
of,
place.
for high schoolers, how many hundreds of students, right?
Yeah.
It was bad. I ruined that for those kids.
Right.
But it's super important that we do that. And one of the things that I respect so much about Jon Corippo, who's our next guest, is he has such a strong bedrock foundation in his aims
Totally.
his history, his pedagogy, what he wants for education, and he's done mincing words.
Oh, yeah.
He calls things right out.
Yep.
It's so great. And he's called me out. Oh, I'll never forget one of the first times I presented at a conference, and John's like, one of my heroes in education.
Sure.
And he was in the back watching. And afterwards he was like, can we talk about that? There were some good things, but the beginning was terrible. You've got to stop that. I'm like, oh my gosh, And John, you're listening. You did say that. Yeah. But what he did, he was like, nobody cares who you are. They want to know what you can do. And so I started right then, refining your practice. I stopped introducing myself at conferences and when I do consulting work and training, and we dive right into work, and I try to show people you are in good hands. And then maybe 10 minutes in, I'm like, okay, so who am I? I'm a classroom teacher. Let's move on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, earn respect.
Earn respect instead of telling them, here are my credentials, and all of that stuff.
I feel like we have such a strange relationship with that too, just in education in general.
We do. Like, we literally...
I need to front so hard to be taken seriously.
We live in an appeal to authority.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
It is.
Like
it is.
Dr. So-and-so, the educator.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I am excited to introduce our next guest. This man is near and dear to my heart, Jon Corippo. For people that know a little bit about my story, I just about left the world of education in 2018. I was applying outside of education, and my principal at a new school, we've talked about Matt Harvey before, he probably saw deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Here I am coming from teaching first, second, and third grade in a Waldorf public school.
Very different.
To being arrogant enough to say I can teach high school English.
Sure.
Which is my original credential. And I'll never forget, Matt was like, hey, I just heard this podcast. There's this guy who has this book, the EduProtocols. I'm happy to get that for you. You can check it out.
Yeah.
And it changed everything.
Yeah. It
changed everything. And I just won't get into that because it's not an EduProtocols show right now. But Jon Corippo wrote with Marlena Hayburn, EduProtocols Field Guidebook 1 and 2. And it has gone on and on. So who is Jon? Jon has been a classroom teacher. Jon has been a vice principal, superintendent, district officers, CFO. He's been in everywhere in education.
Started his own school.
Started his own high school. Yeah, like absolutely. Has dreams of starting a remote school.
What?
I know. It's crazy, and Jon does crazy things, and then they work out for him.
Yeah, to have that kind of hubris.
Yeah.
I love it, but it's not, because he backs it up.
He backs it up.
Actually brings everything
Yeah,
home.
and when I met Jon, he was, I forget his title, but like the lead of innovation or something along that lines of CUE, which is Computer Using Educators, an ISTE affiliate here in the West Coast now. It's Oregon, California, Nevada. Jon, he'll get into it in the episode, but he's been across this whole continent.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I've been everywhere, man, is Jon Corippo.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash Corippo.
He's a close personal friend of mine, as is his wife, Rhonda. She's a principal in Central California. And Jon literally texted me a little while ago from Italy. I didn't even know he was going to Italy. We talk often. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing in Italy? I thought you were in Mexico City. No, that's next month. And so he's, I love that, not only because I love spending time with Jon. I've learned so much about being a professional, being honest in education, being reflexive in education. But I've learned that it's okay to go out and do the thing. Right? So Jon does keynotes, he does all these kinds of things, but what I love is he does classroom takeovers.
Yeah.
So he'll talk about that. He talks about being in like over 450 classrooms in the past year and a half.
Crazy.
And I've been lucky to do that at his side and watch him walk in, take over a classroom, teach blindly,
Yeah.
Because he's so freaking good at what he does.
Insane.
And then the teacher is able to observe and see it with their own kids.
Yep.
And it is life-changing. I'm one of them. He didn't take over my classroom yet. You should come and take over my classroom, Jon. But so,
That'd be way cool.
yeah, without further ado, I give you Mr. Jon Corippo.
Do we have an actual subject for
We
today?
do.
So.
Yeah, and you're leading us right into it, Jon. So
Yeah.
we're meeting with a couple educators that see like a larger viewpoint of education. I mean, why don't you tell us, like, you've been all over the place. Tell us what you've been doing.
Well, okay, so I may have accidentally done a thing where, so since last September, so that would be September of 2021. So not this school year, but counting last year. I've been in something like 450 classrooms on 3 continents in probably 25 school districts.
Okay.
And I'm seeing some really, really glaring trends.
Yeah.
And Jake, you tell them what happens on my field trips that I go on, because Jake went with me.
Yeah, they're
one time.
fantastic. In fact, I want to talk to you about doing a ride along again next year.
You
I
got
love
it, bro.
So, a year and a half ago or so, it was in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Jon in Southern California, and we spent through 2 or 3 days doing classroom takeovers in elementary and middle school. And it was incredible on a couple of levels. One, it was incredible just to watch Jon work.
Sure.
Outside of the conference model. I learned so much watching you, Jon, which is why I'm like, I definitely have to do this again. No, you are a master at your craft. Nobody can say otherwise. The other thing we saw, though, was this was when Omicron hit. So like when Jon and I were driving from the airport, there were like lines
Yeah, we're wondering if we're literally going to die
yeah,
that
like
night.
literally, like we were going to share a hotel room. We're like, we're not going to do that anymore. And like lines around entire city blocks in South, driving from LAX for people to do testing. And Jon, I'm sure you'll remember there were so many substitutes out because they were sick.
Oh yeah.
That we went to a kindergarten class that had 2 full kindergartens with 1 teacher.
Oh my.
Yeah, the teacher literally
It was like,
did this. Oh, Jon,
God bless.
I'm so sorry. And I was like, what's wrong? She goes, they're crazy today. I go, I'm used to 7th and 8th. And then she's like, and they've been wild all day. And there's actually 32 of them. And it's a TK class, so their average age is 4.8. Good luck.
God bless. Yeah, but you killed it.
That was no problem.
You killed it. We did Fast and Curious.
Well, I will say now, to Jake's point, he did bring the 30-second dance party, and that did not hurt.
Absolutely. I don't know if you remember, I was like, there was a moment after we had been doing it, Jon was kind of interfacing with the teacher, like on a private, like, hey, let me talk to you about under the hood kind of a stuff with this lesson.
Cool.
And I'm like, there are 32 approximate 4.5-year-olds with nothing to do right now. So I slipped back into my first grade Waldorf mode.
Totally.
And I was like
could
doing
see that.
like movement and dance and like singing about the,
Oh,
I
that's
think I was
awesome.
singing about the little gnome in the workshop, and like, and Jon all of a sudden is working over there and he's like, what is going on over there? Like,
I'm like, it's like Jake was starting his own little communist China. Let's all move.
and all the kids
together.
were moving and, call and response singing. It was really funny.
So cool. Man, I wish I had
Yeah.
some of those
Anyways,
skills.
So the point of that side story is, so I've basically been evaluated 450 times over the last 2
Right.
years.
Okay.
When I'm doing these, there's at least 1 classroom teacher. Usually there's 2 or 3 admins or TOSAs. Sometimes there's as many as 5 to 8 people in the room. And I'm walking in on this class cold turkey. Cold turkey. And they're basically going like this.
Yeah.
Impress me.
Right.
And so here's some things I've learned from this. In K1, we should be teaching letter sound recognition with keyboarding.
You mean like typing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like literally open up. There's a free app called Typing Club. And you know what happens? They go like this. FFF, GGG, FFF, GGG, FFF, GGG. They're getting one-to-one feedback. If they type the wrong letter, it says, that's the wrong damn letter. And then tomorrow they're AAA, SSS,
Right.
AAA,
Get that
SSS.
homeroom.
If they get a good enough score, they get to play game. And so the difference here is the way that most kids learn alphabet is, let's sit in a circle. Jake might get one question in the whole 5 minutes, and if he gets it wrong, he does not want to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. And then I give you shut up sheets and have you color the letters by tracing them. And by February, half the kids still don't know half the letters, and we've been in there for 6 freaking months.
What?
Right? Nathan, you don't know what it's like to walk into a classroom of 4th graders and go like this. Type this on the screen, and Jake got to see this too. tinyul.com/the name of your own school, WUW. That's all they got to type. tinyurl.com/the name of your own school, WUW. And they do this.
Whoa.
It's not working.
I go, what are you guys doing? They go, Where are the letters? Where are the letters? And they're in 5th grade. They're in 5th grade, bro.
What?
They are in 5th grade.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and this one kid, one time, he literally goes, I hear a kid randomly yell out, where's the 5? Where's the 5? I go, bro, it's a number line. It's right after 4. It's been there since kindergarten.
What?
Oh.
Dude, you're blowing my mind right now.
And if you think, I know, and it gets worse. I go to 4th grade. We're doing 99 math. We're doing some math facts. 4th graders are doing this.
We're past that.
Whoa.
And I'm like, stop. Everybody stop.
Whoa.
Everybody stop. We are not doing this on 3 times 3. We are not doing this on 3 times 3. Now, this thing, what you're doing, this is cool for 77 plus 54. It's not cool for 4 times 3. Jake, it is January. I got 4th graders that can't do 3 times 3.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep, working on their
so
fingers.
guess what they do? They're like, okay, mister. And Jake will verify this. I barely even introduced myself. I go, stop it. No more fingers.
Sit on your hands.
No more. And they very calmly take out their multiplication charts. Okay.
I can do this.
And I put that away. This is 3 times 3. So I made them play 4 rounds of 99 math. And at the end, guess what's happening?
Yeah.
Right.
It's clicking.
They're jamming.
Right.
I put on my little backpack. I go to walk out of the room and I spin around and I go, 4 times 4. And they go, 16. I go, that's how we do it, baby. The point there is, in K1, we're not teaching kids how to keyboard, and then we're surprised when 4th and 5th, 6th graders can't write a sentence.
Right.
And then we've got 4th graders, and we're not actually teaching them math.
Yeah.
And we're surprised that 6th graders can't do fractions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the macro pattern that I'm seeing, is that we're really, really bad at getting easy stuff done quickly. I will reiterate, where's the 5?
On the number line.
It's probably top 10 moments that I got closest to yelling the F word in class. It's in the top.
What? Yeah.
And I was like, but then I thought I'll just tease him. It's after 4, bro. It's number line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I see this pattern. And you guys verify this as real live teachers. Kids think that capitalizing the beginning of sentence is optional.
Oh yeah, no, that's Gen Z down. And
kids think that putting a period at the end is also optional, and it's the only option. They never think about question marks or exclamations. And then the stuff that goes between those two things, the capital and the punctuation, kids who will not shut up for 2 hours about Minecraft all of a sudden say, I don't know what to write.
Yep.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Really?
You don't have a single
That's awesome.
A single thought.
Because I'm pretty sure that if we were on a road trip right now, I'd put you in the back seat of a station wagon. Because you're talking and you can't shut up.
Yeah.
So I think that poison enters the bloodstream in 1st grade with sentence frames.
The poison.
And think about it, Nate. With a sentence frame,
Yeah.
is the writer responsible for capitalizing?
No, not at all.
Is the writer responsible for ending mark?
No, just a few words.
And one or two words, they think that teachers like that. They think, oh, that's writing. So then when you take the sentence frame away, they're like, whoa, what the hell is this? And I always think of, and this is probably too young for you, Nate, Benny Hill used to be like he's like a low-dollar Monty Python.
I'm aware of Benny Hill.
Okay, good. There was a Benny Hill joke he told one time that it didn't really come to life for me until I was teaching, but it was basically, the story is that there was a kid who and you got to imagine it into that Benny Hill funny voice. Well, this kid had never talked since he was 8 years old. He was 8 years old. He's never talked in his whole life. And one day he says, Mom and Dad, the oatmeal's too cold. And they're like, blimey, he's talking. When did you learn to talk? And he goes, the oatmeal's always been okay. And I think there's a lot of that going on in the classroom. The new term I'm calling this is baby birding. The kids literally want me to chew up everything and spit it in their mouth, and I am not here for that.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to go up to junior and high school. We do a cyber sandwich. There's this one table of 4 girls, and they're a little spicier, right? They're the feisty girls. And the person that's with me, Jen Calderon, she goes over and she says, how do you guys like this assignment? And they go, you know what? We don't like it. And Jen says, whoa, what about it? What about it do you not like? She goes, and the leader, the alpha female of the group says, normally Miss does all of this for us and tells us what's important.
Oh no.
Yep.
And Jen's like, oh, you should never ought to say that. That's bad. That's bad. You're going to expect more of this treatment. So, but I'm seeing these patterns that nobody sees across multiple classrooms. And here's the paradox of it, you guys. John Hattie's research, and Jacob, you'll probably know this one, so give Nate some think time. John Hattie's research says,
how old do you think I am?
Well, it's not that. You've heard me say it before. Well, Jacob's just heard me say it before. What's John Hattie's number one correlation of classroom success? What's the number one thing that brings classroom success in terms of teacher practices?
From John Hattie.
From John Hattie. Number one thing.
I'm going to go with...
he was telling us how smart he was a minute ago.
Relationship.
Nope. Good. Not a bad guess, though. Number one thing was collective teacher efficacy.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay.
And see, when I can sit down in first grade and say, listen, if these little shits just knew where the letters on the keys were and they knew what that was 1 through 5, I could go 40% faster all year in first grade. So kindergarten, just get them able to type a sentence by themselves, including, I had one kid call the exclamation mark an upside down I one time. And I was like, where did you get that crap?
Like, you're a 12th grader.
So think about how the kids benefit when the teachers are doing things that are setting the kids up for the next level.
Right.
And the easy way for me to analogize this is, if you're a football coach and you're running the varsity team, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the JV and say, here's the offense I want you guys to run.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to say, oh, do whatever you want and I'll teach them all the vocabulary and footwork next year when I get them. You're not going to do that. You're not going to win championships that way.
Right. Well, there's all this.
So we're dropping the ball on that part.
There's all the trend sort of towards vertical alignment. That's a hot topic.
Yeah, but we're horrible at it.
So it's like,
we're horrible at it.
Yeah. Why?
So here's my version of vertical alignment.
People, it's an idea that we have in our collective teacher consciousness, but Like, how are we doing? Is it just that we hate working with each other?
You got to remember, we're the same people that fight over who's going to read Hatchet. We're the same people that fight over who's going to read Hatchet. And we're the same people that think that giving an 8th grader The Hobbit to read over the summer is going to make any sense. So we can't be left to our own devices. We've got to look outside of our industry.
Yeah.
And so here's what it looks like. And, I got a shout out to Randy Haggard, my principal, in about 2003 or 4. He sat us down in grade levels and he said, identify the top 5 things in ELA your kids are bad at. So each grade level did that: 5th grade, 6th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. Then he put us in grade ranges and he said, now on the next staff meeting, compare what you're bad at in grade ranges. And it went just like this, Nate. My kids are horrible at capitalizing. 4th grade's like, me too. 6th grade, me too. And I was like, oh my God, nobody's ever taking them to mastery. We're all just doing these like weekend trips about capitalization. And that was part of the origin of protocols. I'm going to pound this thing until I say capital and you say, yes, sir. Like, I'm going to pound it until it's a thing. And what happens is nobody ever owns anything. And they blame the book. Oh, we had to get through the whole book. No, you don't.
Yeah, right.
No, nothing shows that getting through the whole book does any good ever.
Yeah.
And so then that really made me go, oh crap. So what you're saying is, if I could get my kids to do these things for 7th grade, and then I could get 4th grade. So basically we were 6th grade and we went to the 5th grade team and we're like, can you guys do these things for us? And guess what happened? At the beginning of the meeting, they were a little frustrated. But listen to what our top 10 list was. Name on paper. Every time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
And I literally said, I did the math on this. You'll save me 21 hours a year of chewing kids out for name on paper. At 14 seconds a piece, it's going to be like 9 hours a year. Make sure that in their backpacks, train them to have their pen and their homework in the backpack. Because I actually timed it, and it took them 41 seconds to get their homework out. If you do that 4 times a day, times 180 days, that's another 9 hours. Teach them their times, multiplication, addition. Teach them all that. Teach them their parts of speech. If you'll just do those 6 things, I can do everything next year 40% faster. And we don't think like that as teachers because we're the master of our domain.
Right. Yeah.
And nobody tells me what to do. And I'm practically a college professor. Can't you tell? And we need to back off on that. And we need to get greedy about big numbers in terms of growth. We need to say, okay, I want to make sure that my kids are going to move 25 or 30 points. Because here's another thing we don't talk about. How about this as an idea? If Nate's kids grow 15 points in 5th grade and I move them 15 points in 6th grade and Jake moves them 15 points in 7th grade, that's 45%. Yeah. Why isn't that happening anywhere?
Yeah.
You should look at your school and say, okay, everybody should be at like 60% by 3rd grade, but that's not what we do. And here's my thesis. We are simply doing the same thing to them over and over again.
Yeah. Your perspective on that.
The kids that are ineffective are ineffective.
Yeah.
The kids that are ineffective are ineffective, and they will continue to be so.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in the 30th percentile for the rest of their career.
Okay.
So I'm curious about something, John. Were you going to finish something? I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay.
I've been talking.
That's okay. So I'm curious though.
Yeah.
I've noticed the kid, like capitalization, right? Sophomores, come on, like, what these things. But what I found is that they say things like, "Oh, I didn't know that we were writing that way right now." Have you noticed this?
Okay.
Where they're like, oh,
that
there's
comes from
multiple
workshop.
modalities
That comes from workshop.
here. Like, no, please
That
always
comes from workshop.
capital and use proper grammar.
That comes from workshop.
So
I'm going to keep saying this. That comes from workshop.
Back to Lucy Calkins.
Did I mention that comes
Is
from
that
workshop?
from workshop?
So
That's from workshop because I don't have a sloppy copy in my world.
right.
We are always writing the best we can. You know who taught me that? This is hilarious. This is why it's important to listen to kids because they will tell you the answers. I had an 8th grader one time, and oh my God, he wrote the worst 3-paragraph thing ever. And I was like, bro, that's straight
No
F.
one's eating
and he
that
goes,
hamburger.
oh, okay, when do we rewrite it? And I was like,
Never.
dude, we ain't rewriting it. Everything's a one-shot deal. And needless to say, he was not super happy with it. He's like, that's rip-off. I go, dude, no, that's how we do it. So I said, what makes you think that it's okay to just write me a bad copy and then put that in? And he goes, well, that's how Miss So-and-so did it last year. And I go, oh, so walk me through this. And basically, he says that what the teacher does is he puts out the least effort possible. This is the kid telling me. I put out the least effort possible. And then, quote, she spends all weekend grading it. And he goes, then on Monday, I correct everything she likes. Because she is going to give me a better grade if I say what she wants. So I'm waiting for her to tell me what she wants.
That's
Insert visceral reaction here.
brilliant.
Yeah, smart kid.
That
And
is a
I'm
smart
like,
kid.
oh,
Harness
shit,
that kid.
this kid is smart. Yeah, this kid is smart. So I go, well, you just need to know that deal's over, bro. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that smorgasbord is closed.
And guess who later got his MFA? Guess who got his MFA in literature? That guy.
awesome.
Definitely. That's awesome.
So I feel like I may have had a small hand in that. I won't put a big hand in that. But I taught him how to write hard all the time. And everything is a one-shot deal. And if I want you to revise something, I'll tell you what to revise when we do the next round, not now.
Right.
I don't got time for that.
Yeah, we're moving on. And we're going to hit it 18 more times, right?
Yep. We're going to win on reps as opposed to winning on revising the same one every time, because guess what? It's pretty boring to write something 3 times.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
So how's that for a stinger?
That's fantastic. You know, you hit right. One of the things that we're...
Everything is always live.
It's always live.
Everything is
It
always
always
live.
counts for the process.
Show me a football team where they say, hey guys, don't worry about catching it every time today.
Right.
Oh, it's okay. Part of you are offsides. Part of the time. It's only Thursday.
Could you imagine?
You know what the biggest problem they have as a football coach? You know the biggest problem you have as a football coach? When on Thursdays or Fridays, depending on the grade level. On Thursday or Fridays, we're doing walkthroughs, and the coaches call it thud, which is run up to the guy and just give him a bump. We're not actually going to tackle him. That is the hardest thing to teach in football. You know why? Everybody's geared up to whack somebody.
Right.
The game is whacking somebody. And so they're like, you guys have got to quit doing that or I'm going to move you to 2-hand tag. And they're like, okay, coach. And then they do it again. I'm like, you got to quit doing that. So I'm trying to bring that same ethos to writing. We're always in. Like whoever does, I'm going to do a crappy TikTok post. My TikTok post is going to be really crappy. You don't. That's not how people do things. It's not how they do things. So you got to build that ethos.
Right.
I'm just imagining like your
But
coach.
you've got teachers that say, just do a sloppy copy. We're going to rewrite it next week. Ew.
Yeah.
As if.
Yeah, for me, actually, like part of my whole like prompts and like schema, and this is for college level stuff, so it's a little bit different world, but it's also like I want to see to the best of your ability.
Yeah, right out
Can
the
you
gate.
do this,
Yeah.
and I want whatever it is to the best of your ability. And
Now,
I reserve judgment
that
to
being
say,
said, sometimes
I know you can do better.
Yeah, sometimes I'm having my kids write formally,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's wildly creative and goofy.
Totally.
Like the kid, we were doing a genre of expository writing, and he did one with how to kidnap kids. I did not see that coming.
Okay.
And he actually had a picture of a van that said free candy on the side. And I'm like, oh, he gets the assignment. He understands what we're doing
That's
here.
amazing.
So I will have kids write in ways that are, very formal or very informal. But there's never a point where you say, just throw some crap on there because I'm not looking.
No.
That is not a thing.
Yeah, I love that. I have that vision of like,
Yeah.
Fresno State football coach. Okay, now I want you to get out there and give me like 68%. Like that's just
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
not a thing. And yet we live through that
Right.
every day in a classroom.
Well, another thing that I kind of have been incorporating too is it's just like every piece of writing we're going to do has use later. You're going to use it later. So
Right.
it's like if you do really garbage annotations on this is going to suck for you so hard later
for a long time.
For the next month. You're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to have anything to reference.
Well, and that's another thing that I got from Fresno State football. My coach there used to tell us this a lot. I'm going to teach you this. It may not make sense, but I need you to do it perfectly because I'm going to teach you this so we can do something later.
Exactly.
And we don't have progressions in school. Like in math, if you do a good job, you know what you get to do? You get to never do that assignment again. That makes no sense.
You're free. You're free of your bonds.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like approaching education that way, where it's just like it's. We're talking with Marissa actually, and she was like, "What like?" Because when we're doubling down on the actual skills, right? Then it starts to feel like there isn't enough, or it's like it's too easy, or there isn't enough rigor to it. And it's like, no, I'm doubling down on the skills that I want. I'm not going to put them in a rat race. I'm not going to put them on a spinning wheel of things that aren't useful.
Yeah.
Like I want to actually
We're not
double
looking
down
for
on a
bulk.
skill. I'm not looking for hard.
So that's
I'm looking for
That's a great place to wrap up.
Focused.
That's a great place to wrap up because I don't want this to go on too
Yeah.
long. So we teach kids all these standards. I'm gonna riff on Marissa right now. We teach them all these standards, but if they can't write a paragraph, we teach them all these standards, but if they can't do a word problem, we teach them all these standards, but if they can't do a presentation, we teach them all these standards, but if they can't make a web page, like if there's not a macro skill that you can use or execute when you're done,
what's the point?
we're failing.
What's the point?
Knowing standards by itself is and I'm somebody's going to be mad at me for this. Knowing the standards is fairly useless.
Yeah.
That'd be like saying, I know my color wheel perfectly. Can you draw a picture of your cat? No. But if you want me to color yours, I can. Big whoop-de-doo, man. If you can't actually do the task, you don't have much.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you work on cars? Yes, I can change the oil. Anything else? No. That's all I can do. But I'm a mechanic.
Very good at it.
Right. Yeah. No.
Where are the spark plugs? What are those? You're not really doing it at that
whole
point.
ethos for me, like I feel like I was pretty I had the advantage of coming from a very different kind of teaching where like most of the teaching I've actually done is music teaching. And in music teaching, there is no, oh, you did this happen. It's like you either play the song or you don't.
Or how about this? Let's do Stairway to Heaven crappy.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just wing
And
it.
so like
It doesn't work
there's
like that.
actually I've had some just because of the way I think the culture of the current set of students, like I had my music class this year was kind of, it took a lot of extra effort for me to get those kids up to where I wanted them to be. But, part of the thing was like, I was basically just like, look, I will let you crash and burn.
Yeah.
Like if there's a show and we're going to perform and you haven't practiced and you don't know your part, that's too bad for you. Like I'll let you learn that hard lesson.
The ship is going to say,
because it's like you have to develop the skill. And if you're not willing to do that, then what are we doing here?
Well, here's one last little thing you made me think of on the macro scale. Everywhere I go, teachers have kids that won't work. Right? But the teachers have created that ethos, because here's what they do. Work quietly. I'm going to be at my desk, or I'm going to be working with a small group. So I have no idea what you're doing over there. Human children are born procrastinators, and so they're going to procrastinate. All people, including adults, because you've done this too some, Jake, when you go to teach people protocols, they usually screw up the first protocol because they don't get it. So what happens with kids is when they don't get it, what happens is they just hide in the back of the room and they're like, I'm working. I'm not doing anything. That's why I only let kids use pen in my classroom, because I got tired of them writing a paragraph and then erasing it, writing another paragraph and then erasing it. And then when I go to help them, they're like, it was really good, but I erased it. How dumb do you think I am, dude?
Okay.
So here's the thing that protocols really I think helps a lot, which is the immediacy of low-grade public analysis of your actual work really backs that off. Yeah. Because your friend is going to look over at you and they're going to be like, bro, what have you been doing? Like when you do an Iron Chef and everybody shares, if you're the only kid in the class that has nothing, there is a social awkwardness there that I don't have to engineer.
I love
the kids are like, oh, egad, that's bad.
Like, what have you been doing?
And teachers are so used to kids blowing off the work that they don't realize that if you show everybody who did the work, they will naturally start not wanting to look like the outlier.
That calibration.
And that's what gets kids working. Which is also fulfills another paradox, which is, I'm going to call this the Corippo phenomena. If you're actively working and trying, you have to grow.
Weirdest thing ever.
It's crazy.
True. And if your kids in your class are not growing, guess what that tells me?
They're not trying.
They're not actively trying and growing. It's that simple. And that's really the magic, is how do I get everybody to actively work and actively try? And if I can get that done, everything else follows.
That's a good rose, actually.
Literally, everything else follows. If I can get every fourth grader to quit doing this and do 3 times 3 in their head 135 times in the next hour, in a week, we'll be fine. And then they start going, this guy's got something here. Like, I never got math before, but now that I'm actually doing it, it's pretty cool. When that happens, they start believing in you. And then all of a sudden, you're the teacher of the year, because people can give you any kid and they start growing.
They know their time's not being wasted.
I love that.
It's fantastic. I love that takeaway, John. Hey, we don't want to take up your whole day. You got yard work to do, right?
Yeah.
Don't tell Rhonda.
Weeds ain't gonna pull themselves, man.
Weeds ain't gonna pull himself.
No.
Good deal.
Well, it was a great conversation.
It was great talking with you.
Yeah, it was really good to talk to you, John.
I love this show.
You got to give Mac a big pat for me. Your dog's.
I will
dog
do
is
that.
the greatest dog.
You want me to send you some of his fur, maybe?
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. Thanks for coming on, John. It was good to see you.
Yeah.
Right.
You bet. Keep on doing what you do, you guys. I mean, like when Dave Burgess started publishing books, I said, "Oh my God, this is the analogy it's the opposite of Budweiser or Coors, right? In the old days, you could only buy beer from like 5 brands, and now you can buy thousands of brands of beer.
Mhm.
And what's a mead anyways? Like Budweiser would never make a mead.
Right.
And ciders and all this, right? And so what happened in publishing is Dave Burgess is one of the people that allowed people to tell their own reality, their own story, without being like a college professor. And you guys doing stuff like this is just continuing to build that network of teachers doing their own thing for their own purposes. And if either one of you guys got shipped to Kansas or New York, you wouldn't show up and go, "Oh, I can't start teaching until you guys hand me the workbooks, bro." I can't prep. I can't prep yet. I don't have the books.
No.
You wouldn't do that because you know how you want to teach Latin roots, and you know how you want to teach reading comprehension, and you own that as a true professional. So yay for you.
Yeah, well,
Thanks,
thanks for
Jon.
that, John.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from you.
Yeah.
It's true.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you've reshaped
I hope
so
Having
you
much.
good
survive.
mentors is important, as we have
Absolutely.
discussed. And there's one right there.
And there's one right there. Excellent.
There's one right
There's
there.
one right there.
Okay, boys.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Bye.
You bet.
See ya. Jon Corippo, everybody, has a lot of things to say about education and without mincing words. And we love that about him. But I love what he has to say there at the end, and especially the Corippo effect. What did he say?
The Corippo phenomenon.
The Corippo phenomenon. That's right.
Yeah.
of basically just like, if you get kids working and actually trying, that's
Yeah.
really what it is it's just like, to the best of your effort, if you're trying, you will learn things.
Yep.
You will grow. And I love how he talks about leveraging like positive peer pressure, and I always try to do that as well, because I'm just not a disciplinarian type of person. I'm just not scary. I have my scary moments, and I choose those wisely, because if they're rare, they're scarier.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't lead with that. I lead with community and trying to build community in the classroom. And I think a really important part of that is leveraging positive peer pressure to do the thing, to try. That's why we're here. Why are you sitting here and not doing anything?
Yeah, I love that John said building the ethos of doing well every time.
That is
and
so
not
good.
meaning like that perfection, right?
No.
Doing well, maybe not getting it right, not understanding the skill, but like working hard and trying and like being in the machine of learning.
Right.
And then, the Corippo phenomenon. I love that. I think it's funny. The opposite side of that is actually frightening. Right? If you look at the data since like 1973, the amount of growth is very little.
Yeah.
So then, unbacked by science, the Corippo phenomenon, does that, how often are students just doing busy work,
Yeah.
doing things that aren't stretching them, things that they're not putting the time or the effort into, feeling uncomfortable, that liminal space to move forward, right? And like, I've seen it in my classroom. I know those kids that I'm not pushing.
Totally.
Right? Or even nudging. Right? Like they're really good at avoiding discomfort.
Very good at avoiding, and I think that comes from just being afraid too. You're afraid because you don't want to look like you don't have the skill. You don't want to look like you did it wrong. You don't want to do it wrong. You don't want to be embarrassed by your own mistakes.
Yep.
But then that kind of circles back around, like, mistakes have to be okay from you as a teacher and for students in your class. Making mistakes has to be okay, and it has to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't keep shooting for the moon.
No, you can't. And John talks a lot in his work about reps.
Yeah. I
Right?
guess.
And I think, if we hear Malcolm Gladwell talked about the 10,000 hour principle, right? Like, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll become a master of it. And he clarified that, and he was like, you can't do crappy piano work for 10,000 hours. You're going to become a master of crappy piano.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, I've seen this happen before.
Yeah, like they do the same bad thing over and over and over. So we have people that have become masters of not capitalizing, right? But so that's mass and spaced rep, that I believe that's a Marzano phrase. Jon talks a lot about diving in, doing the thing well, not that you're right, but learning and growing every iteration closer and closer towards mastery, moving that needle further towards mastery. And I love, dare I try to wrap up this episode with two just world-class educators. Like, how lucky are we to get to pull on a network of people that we know and say, hey, Marisa E. Thompson, you want to hang out on our podcast? Yeah. Next up is Jon Corippo. And then, we got two other incredible educators that we're hoping to schedule to get on the podcast for a similar episode. But if I take to heart some of the things that we've talked about today, I need to talk about my own reflection and my own refining of a practice, because it is the end of the year. We're in the last week.
It is.
Right? So the school year
Grades are
is
due,
really
tomorrow.
almost over. They're due tomorrow. Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. We did that.
I'm not good.
Maybe we can refine that practice.
Yeah,
but I've been thinking about, like, what am I going to do better next year? How can I be 1% change? How can I move that needle just a little bit? And I've identified a couple of things. One of the things that I want to do is the students that I work with that are independent study.
That's always hard.
It's really hard, right? And so for listeners that are unfamiliar with us and the model that we teach, and we're in a hybrid high school. And so the students come like 2 days a week to classes. Some of the students are here 4 days in a row for different classes. It's run a lot like a college schedule, and it's really beautiful. Like, we've seen some incredible things happen with students.
Yes.
But what that means is that I maintain a roster of, I believe it's 24 students, that I'm like their homeroom teacher, and I make certain that all of their classes are working well. I interface with their parent. I'm like a liaison between the school and the parent, which is great about personalized education. The parents have someone like, whatever you need, come to me. I'm your guy.
Personalized learning.
Right. Every student has a number of independent study classes, like homeschool classes. And so one of the things I noticed that this current year, I'm finishing my 6th year here in the school. And I'm really gonna try front loading the beginning of next semester with more structure and work. And so I've talked about, or you and I have talked about maybe holding like a workshop where the kids come in. We're going to tear apart their curriculum that they need for the whole semester. We're going to parse it out and schedule it and build, I dare say packets, but like envelopes of expected material.
Clear goalposts.
Clear goalposts. And that has been lacking before the event. Our population was different. The parents that were choosing our model were much more engaged. And that's not as much the case anymore. We have a population at our school that are much less traditional in the homeschool model. They're looking for something different. And so I'm going to really try, that's what I'm going to really try. I'm going to try building much clearer goals and expectations and policies and procedures around that. It'll decrease the students' anxiety. They're not going to forget about a class that's online and then have to make up a couple of weeks at once, which this happens often.
Oh, this happens.
It happens
all
often.
the time.
And it'll help me juggle. Well, I counted. I essentially have, what did I count? 18 preps? Is that what I counted?
Yeah.
Essentially, I have
once you have
grades 9 through 12. And then all of the, courses that they're taking, it'll help me know how to help them. And how to help keep them on track. Because so much of that form of educator that I have to play is cheerleader.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's cheerleader manager, right? Like, I'm here for you, and then, oh my gosh, we're behind, let's fix this. And so I want to get less of the, oh my gosh, we're behind, let's fix this.
Totally.
Yeah. So
love
that
that.
I'm really going to try to do that, because I didn't do well at that. I had a lot of anxiety around that this year.
It is so hard. Mm-hmm. It's the hardest part of our.
It has a lot of paperwork, a lot of managerial stuff that isn't my brain. I'm more of a creative than that.
Same, obviously.
Yeah. So that, and then for the classes that I teach in person, our center classes we call them, English 10, I'm going to be front loading the year with. I'm going to really purposefully be diving into exactness in language. And I love that I just said that in a really unexact way. Right?
We can make mistakes here, people.
Diving into critical thinking and analysis, and especially the language involved in that.
Yeah.
And there's a guy I want to get on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say his name.
Talk to me about this, but it would be very cool.
So cool.
It would be very cool.
Critical analysis guru.
Critical analysis, argumentation. I feel like these things have become so threatening to people. If you're questioned or you're questioning, that is somehow a threat. But I have never seen it that way. It's an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to find something new.
That takes us a little back to something that Marisa Thompson, to help people Google her, talked about, right? The it's okay to own your faults.
Yeah.
And when you're confronted, through critical analysis, it's a huge growth. You experience the Corippo phenomenon.
Have to be engaged, have to be working.
So how about you? Reflective practice.
For me, well,
you can't steal mine.
Definitely, we've talked about we need to collaborate on the independent study, because that's both.
It's a big bear.
It's a real weakness for me as well, because the way our model has been built is really on the assumption that people are going to treat those classes that are taken independently in a traditional homeschool model.
Yeah, and they definitely were.
And
historically,
they were.
Yeah, it's just a change.
Our society is changing. Our culture is changing. Our population that choose our model is changing, and changing in a way where, like, I can't even really blame parents at all, and playing the blame game wouldn't matter anyway. Nope. It's like they are just as busy and just as, like they can't be the educator to their kid at all times, and they need structure as well as we do. Like, we need to all be on the same page. Yep. So that's one that I totally am wanting to explore with you. But another is, I'm still going to be teaching my very experimental dual enrolled English college freshman comp is what it would traditionally be called, but first year writing, or in our system, English 2 is what it's called. But it's dual enrolled, so they get college credit for it. And we've shifted it next year to, I got to take the whole year this year to do a college class over the span of a year, which I mentioned in my conversation with Marisa a little bit, and with Jon. But we're condensing it to just being a semester, and I'm teaching 1 2-hour block. Now, I haven't taught a 2-hour block.
It's different.
In a long time. Yeah. So it's going to be a very different model, and I'm going to have to kind of rethink that. But some things that I really needed to double down on were, especially like grading. I have a really difficult relationship with grading, because I think in like Jon mentions, like, I don't want my grades to be like punishments. I don't want my grades to be like behavior modification. Like, I feel like teachers often fall into that trap where it's just like compliance. It's like, you have to get this, you have to earn these points. And this last year, I really like threw all that out the window and tried contract grading. And there were some things I really liked about contract grading. If you haven't looked into it, it's basically just like you set the bar as, I want you to do this to each assignment to the best of your ability. And if you do all of the assignments, everything I ask of you to the best of your ability, you'll get an A in the class. So you're not hurt by making mistakes, as long as you do each assignment to the best of your ability. But that's really confusing for high school students.
It's so far different.
They don't understand how to take that in because they're so used to being sort of like controlled and playing to the way their grading scheme works.
Yeah.
So I need to find some kind of hybrid in between. And that's a big one for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to really have to think about that.
Maybe we'll crowdsource that one.
Yeah.
If anybody out there practices a hybridized
Yeah.
contract grading,
I would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Talk about it, especially in like a high school, college model. Yeah, I'm just in a weird space in education. That's just always how it's been for me. And you know what? Like, I love living in that chaos, honestly.
You're good at it.
I'm good at it.
You're good at it. And I love that, like you thrive in a certain whirlwind that some do not.
Yeah.
Right?
That's definitely that's
But I'm thinking about a couple of students that you work closely with that are very type A.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
so much.
Where's my day timer planner?
Yes.
You know, I'm only allowed to be here for 7.5 minutes. Because it'll take a half a minute to walk across the quad. And then I have a 2-minute meeting, very scheduled. Yeah. And that is not your world.
No, it's not.
No.
And sometimes when I interface with those students, I definitely am not what they want. But I feel like it's very good for us to have that kind of meet in the middle exchange, because you're going to run into all different kinds of educators, especially if you go on to college.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you need to have the ability to communicate with your teacher and like clarify things and find where those boundaries are to make sense of it for yourself. Yeah.
Find the edges.
And I love that kind of type A kid that immediately freaks out, and then they learn how to hang. And they learn that I'm not going to like hurt them for no reason.
Well, I wonder how much,
especially with grading,
how much of that student personality is reactive to being hurt in the past.
Yeah, you have a good point.
I mean, not everybody. Some people just move that way in the world naturally.
Yeah.
But there is a fear, and to go back to something that Jon talked about, that, mass versus spaced practice, do well every time, growing towards it while not dinging them for making a mistake, right? I call it the practice field in my class, and then there's game day.
Totally.
Right? We might do vocabulary practice for a week or two, and then they do have a quiz.
That's
and
probably what I'm going to move more towards.
Yeah, so it's like you did the thing, you get the points. Now the quiz is what kind of stretches out the difference in grading.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, boy, we talked about a lot today.
That
was fun.
There's a lot to think about.
I enjoyed this. We had a couple of heavy weeks there. Thanks for making it through it. Just closing up, big special thanks to Marisa and Jon for being on the podcast.
Yeah, it was an honor.
It was an honor. I'm really enjoying getting guests on the podcast, right? If you have something to offer and you're interested, reach out to us, right?
We'd love to have a conversation.
We love expanding.
Each of those conversations, we were like, hey, let's just talk for 10, 15 minutes. We ended up talking for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It's so much fun to just get into the weeds of education, and that's what this is all about.
Yep. All right. We'll see you later.
See you in the next one.